Welcome back to The Journey, Leadership Through Partnership, the Danny and Gunnar story. In the first two episodes, we talked about where Danny started after returning home from military service and why so many training programs, leadership initiatives, and development efforts fail to create lasting change. We explored how a lack of clarity, inconsistency, and reactive decision-making can undermine even the best intentions.
From First Paw Media, sponsored by Dream Chaser Leadership in Anchorage, Alaska. This is the Peak Experience Podcast. Here we talk about leadership, team building, strategic management, and organizational development. Visit our website, peakexp.org. Now, here are your hosts, Robert and Michelle Forto.
Today we move into the next phase of the story. Every successful service dog team, every effective leader, and every high-performing organization has something in common. Long before anyone notices the results, someone has invested time building a foundation. The challenge is that foundations are rarely exciting. They are built through repetition, structure, and discipline. They often feel slow. They frequently go unnoticed. Yet, they determine almost everything that follows. When Danny entered our service dog program through Alaska Dog Works, he wasn't looking for a leadership lesson. He was looking for a way forward. He wanted greater independence, more confidence in daily life, and a system that could help him navigate challenges associated with PTSD. Like many people who enter a service dog program, he naturally focused on the outcome. He envisioned what life might look like once he and Gunnar were working together successfully. What he quickly discovered was that success would not be determined by the finish line. It would be determined by the work that had been done long before either of them reached it. One of the first conversations we have with clients is about expectations. Not expectations for perfection, but expectations for the process. People often assume service dog training is primarily about teaching the dog. It is equally about developing the handler. The dog and handler are learning together. They are building a partnership, and that partnership requires structure from the beginning. For Danny, this meant learning that consistency mattered more than intensity. Progress wasn't going to come from occasional bursts of effort. It would come from showing up day after day and applying the same principles repeatedly. The training sessions themselves were important, but what happened between those sessions often mattered even more. As Gunnar began learning foundational behaviors, Danny was learning foundational habits of his own. He was learning timing, communication, observation, and reinforcement. He was learning how small actions repeated consistently over time create reliable outcomes. The lessons weren't always dramatic, but they were significant. This is one of the reasons we place such a strong emphasis on owner-trained service dogs. When the handler is actively involved in the process, they gain a deeper understanding of how the system works. They don't simply inherit a trained dog. They help build the partnership from the ground up. That investment creates trust, and trust becomes one of the most important assets the team possesses. Interestingly, this same principle appears in almost every leadership environment we encounter through Peak Experience. Organizations often focus on outcomes while overlooking foundations. Leaders want stronger teams, better communication, and improved performance, but they sometimes underestimate the importance of the daily routines and expectations that make those outcomes possible. We're going to take a short break here, and we will be right back.
Leadership is not learned in comfort. It is forged through challenge, uncertainty, and action. It's time for another memorable moment in leadership history, sponsored by Dream Chaser Leadership and Peak Experience. providing experiential leadership development, strategic coaching, and team building programs designed for real-world results.
Harriet Tubman returns again. Harriet Tubman escaped slavery, then repeatedly returned to guide others to freedom. Leadership is not escaping alone. It is going back to help others rise. This week's lesson: courage creates trust. Today's mantra: go first. Okay, we are back. The reality is that trust is rarely built during major events. It is built through consistent experiences. Reliability is rarely established during moments of crisis. It is established long before the crisis arrives. Strong partnerships, whether between a handler and a service dog or between a leader and a team, are created through thousands of small interactions that reinforce confidence and predictability. As Danny and Gunnar progressed through the early stages of training, they were not simply learning skills. They were creating a framework that would support them when conditions became difficult. Every successful repetition strengthened the relationship. Every challenge provided an opportunity to improve communication. Every routine reinforced stability. At the time, it probably didn't feel extraordinary. Most foundational work doesn't. But years later, looking back on the journey, it becomes clear that this was where everything began.
From First Paw Media, this is the Peak Experience Podcast. We hope you enjoyed this podcast, and we invite you to subscribe in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. You will find a link in our episode notes. You can tap or swipe on the episode cover art, and you'll see some offers from our sponsors. You can support our show by supporting them. If you like what you have heard, we would love it if you would give us a 5-star rating and tell your friends how to subscribe too. Our producer is Robert Forto and created by First Paw Media.